Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video I'll be going through the last BBL game review for SuperCoach purposes. I guess the last round I've decided not to cover it as we don't really need to cover it for trades or anything like that, and we also are and just getting stuck into the AFL content with a lot of the reviews that you guys want to be done. I thought I'd jump straight into them, so I will be getting through a updated team reveal on both Fantasy and Supercoach, and then getting through all of the fantasy positions, and then by then we'll be 40 days out or so, and then we can start doing player previews, I guess, or reviews. And that will get us towards round zero. Then we'll get some preseason notes, etc., like that, and then we will run straight through, I guess, until the the AFL starts. I believe it's 49 days now. So yeah, I have a rough timeline, but we'll just get through it, I guess, now. But anyway, let's just jump into this last review here. Uzi Khawaja, 23 off 9. His one game this year, and I'm really intrigued to see what happens next year, how many games they're going to get released, because I wonder if they're going to try and back end this tournament a little bit, because we do know that the Aussies have the Ashes, which they're probably going to take no matter what. I would sort of expect 3 or 4 days off after that Sydney test. The Sydney test is the 3rd to the 7th. Put 3 or 4 days on. That's to the 10th. So can they really organise mostly East Coast games from the sort of 11th to the 15th, and then spread it back out a little bit so that you get those guys back with their squads quickly? And how many games can you fit in that? Could we have a back-ended schedule again, or not so much, or comparative to what we had this year, where we get maybe 4 or 5 games in that span? Or are they just going to, how are they going to structure it, I guess, is the main question we have to, or that the BBL themselves have to consider, because obviously the Ashes does take precedent over the BBL, but we're just going to have to see, because it has been really refreshing seeing the Aussie guys back for their sides. I know Alex Carey hasn't really hit the ground running with, I think, 2 18s. Uzi with the 23s, Marnus with the 77. You've also had Smith with 150. I can't remember if any of the other guys have necessarily come back. Sammy Constas with a 50 odd. So, and I don't think anyone else. Bo Webster's done all right, but no one else has really done outstanding compared to Smith and Labuschagne's one performance here. But yeah, I think it's just it brings some more life into the competition, especially with the especially because the timing almost fits with the PSL and the ILT20 and the SA20 guys leaving. They leave, like we know with, and we'll get to the trade targets about that. But I think it is really, really influential in the competition, especially because these guys should be there for finals next year, which will be really, really good to see. Potentially guys like, Mitch Marsh will be there anyway, but yeah, guys like Marnus, Usman. I mean, Usman probably retires anyway, so he will be playing BBL cricket for the next 2 or 3 years, I think, unimpeded. Smith as well, potentially in the next little bit. But you've got guys like Khawaja, Labuschagne, Boland, potentially even Mitchell Starc next year, given that they probably have the run-in that they want. But he may rest up after the Ashes campaign. Hazelwood, Cummins, Nathan Lyon as well, Carey, Head, Constas, Smith, etc. There's quite a few guys there that are going to make it back into the sides, and I also think we're going to have a good influx of, I hope that they do that as well, that they have the English guys as well decide to sort of take up the reins after guys like they're basically effectively international replacement players. That would be really fun to see, that they're sort of the second crop of talent, I guess, coming through of the international players. So that once the PSL guys, not the PSL, I keep on missing that. Once the ILT20 and SA20 guys leave, then you have guys like Joe Root and some guys like that playing. That would be really interesting to see. And I think that's something that could be worked around with regards to the players there. If they can get that to work, that those that the England test squad and the Aussie test squad come back and they sort of replace or something, or even if they just put a little handicap in there for something that you can pick one of those guys or something like that from the England test squad if they make them all available, as well as having your Aussie guys. That would be, I think, really, really fun. Anyway, I've just burned 5 minutes here when I could be talking about this game, but I think that's something that I'd really like to see. Usman Khawaja, 23 off 9. He was really, really hot to start. He got away quickly from Riley Meredith and Nathan Ellis, and I was really happy that I went with Nathan Ellis over the likes of a Riley Meredith. Meredith is just pace, simply put. He's really bad when he pitches us up. So, yeah, he tried to pitch it up and he just got smacked around. I think he went none for 50 odd or something. None for 57 off 4 there. So, yeah, Usman Khawaja. He just chipped it. He just didn't follow through with his shot, but got out to Nathan Ellis, caught by Jake Doran. Jake Doran actually had an interesting game. I think he ended up with 8 and a catch. So he ended up with 18 plus, I think, 16 or so in the first game, something like that, maybe 8 in the first game. So he ended up on a 26 for those that had him, who needed coverage and couldn't get to a Wade or something like that. So that was all right. I mean, him and Lockie Shaw both put out all right coverable numbers for sort of a 12th man type scenario or 11th man. They'd be probably your 11th scorer. Yeah, I know that if I could have got Lockie Shaw on field, I would have definitely profited. Mick Sweeney won. He just got out to a short ball that just didn't come on and just skied, not really skied it, but just sort of toe-ended it straight to cover. Marnus Labuschagne showed that he is one of, he's really good when he gives himself time. And you just hope that he gives himself time in the test arena. I know that SCG pitch was stuffed, but we really don't want to see him playing that sort of guide through gully at the moment because that's really, really not helping him. So yeah, that was really, really good to see Marnus get back into some form before Sri Lanka, which Sri Lanka should help him out because he's been getting out a lot to the paces. So hopefully him facing more of the spinner should really help him out, I think, a little bit more. Matt Renshaw, 40 off 25. Yeah, he just got run out trying to go for a 2, which pretty much set the game back up again. Because if you look at it here, they were probably on track for like 220, 215 when Renshaw got out. And that probably turned the tide of the game, that run out by Tim David. He wasn't impactful in terms of the bat this game, but he was impactful in the field, I feel like, Tim David. And yeah, I think that was probably the difference in the game was the outfielding comparatively. I know that Mick Sweeney took a good catch in the second time asking, but he dropped one. He let one go over his head. There was also some good running between the wickets from the the Hurricanes, and that compared to what the Heat put out, I think was the main driver of the difference. I don't think the batting and the bowling was too dissimilar. It was just the fielding that was noticeably different. You have Max Bryant, 4 off 8. Tom Alslop, 39 off 27. He put together a really good knock there to get the Heat up to a really good score. The problem for him was the fact that he probably didn't get going early. He scored something like 30 off his last about 15 balls. But if he could have got going early and get that up to sort of a 45 or 50 off 27, that's when the game breaking comes in. But just couldn't do that. And Nisa, 5 off 4. He just seems to be that guy that the last couple of rounds that's been doing some bits of this, some bits of that, but nothing really major. And I know that he's had 6 drop catches in 2 games, which is 146 points that I burned. That has basically been burned off me. So, yeah. In another world, Michael Nisa in the last 2 weeks, in 2 rounds, has scored 146 with the ball, plus 20 with the in the field because he's dropped 2 catches, and then also another 4 runs with the bat in that game last week, and he would have had another 25. So he is a matter of inches away from 29 points plus 146, another 175 points, and another 175 points puts me at like 650th, 640th if you just include me, which you probably couldn't do that exactly. So probably say, let's for example's sake, put me at 700th rank. I didn't give away my rank, but you'll see that, I did rise up the ranks considerably. But that just shows the difference of it. Michael Nisa on another day, I am absolutely flying. Oh, and then you have to also conclude that he would have been captain for half of those as well. So add another 70 odd points there. you would think, oh, another 100 odd points there, I think. So, yeah, add another 100 points and you probably get me ranking about 600, if not 550. Which, yeah, just shows how crazy this the game can flip, because Michael Neese has been annoying to hold these last couple of weeks, but could have easily been a joy. Yeah, we talked about Riley Meredith being someone that just had a horror day. Marcus Bean actually had a really good day, 25 plus, he probably ended up on 34. Let me just quickly get out of that. Probably shouldn't have showed you that, but anyway, I think it was pretty common what I was doing. This one here, we want this one. And we want to go to Bean, who had a 32, which is a good performance, but hopefully as well, he gets discounted, so he's only priced at, say 25, 26. 25, 26 is around about that 70, 75k. And I do think that if Meredith might re-sign, and they might get Bo Webster, but they might lose Tim David, Mitch Owen, etc. So I'm hoping Marcus Bean is the type of guy that they get and they sort of develop, because he looked all right if he can just get his line and length right. Because that extra bounce is a little bit worrisome. I know that Labuschagne early on in his innings didn't like it too much, so I'm intrigued about him next year alongside Fraser McGurk, Hardy, the Davies brothers, and some other guys that I'll probably mention early in the piece next year. Well, not early in the preseason next year, I should say. Nathan Ellis, 342, sorry. He turned out. He also got a catch and no run out this week, but yeah, this game, sorry. But he ended up, I think, on 150 or so. Let me just check with that. Nathan Ellis, 143 for the round. So yeah, absolutely paid out him. And yeah, really happy to own him. Probably would have liked to have had the captaincy on him compared to Chowdhury, I think, who put out 122. So that would have been an extra 20 points. But is what it is. Would have loved the captaincy on Mitch Owen, but it is what it is. Hatziglou, 2 overs, none for 17. He just didn't have to bowl too much, to be honest with you. Didn't look good at the bowling crease, to be honest with you. Tim David, 1 over for 11. I don't know why they're bowling Tim David, to be honest with you. Mitch Owen, 3 overs, 1 for 20. I think he's going to be one of the hottest prospects to own next year. I think if he definitely gets back to bowling, average of 71.4, high strike rate batter. That's definitely failed in a couple of knocks. So it'll be interesting to see if people own him next year or whether you fade him early. That could be draw dependent, because we have seen him put up 1, 2, 3 low scores, but also when he gets ball in hand, it kind of concretes his, I guess, how do I put this? It kind of concretes him as a really solid option. Because you can see here that in the 2 games that he's had with the ball, he's contributed 45. Sorry, no, that's not right. 25, 27, 26. So 51, 61 points with ball in hand. So that's 30.5 a game. If he's contributing 20 to 25 points per game with the ball, all he needs with the bat is, as I said, like a quick 20. And he's going to get there because he's also a gun in the field as well. And you would expect, if we look at his season stats in the field, you can see for the field, he's getting an involvement a game. What's that? 40, 60, 80, 100. He's already got 100 points in 9 games so far this year. 100 points in 9 games is 11.1 a game. So that's really, really good to see. So you add that to his bowling, potentially if he's getting a wicket and dot balls, etc. a game. You're already looking at a guy who's averaging, what's that? 40 points per game. 40 points per game, all he needs is a 20 with the bat, and he's getting 80 points per game. That's how good he is. And he's going to have one of those games where he pops off for 100 with the bat, and then he add in with the ball. So, yeah, I just think he's going to be an interesting one to own. And then Chowdhury, 2 overs for 14. Would have liked to have seen him get the extra over there instead of Tim David. That would have been kind, because that would have got him that extra sort of 5-10 points for the economy rate bonus. It would have been 10 if he'd gotten that extra over at 7. And that would have just helped out the when I had the VC on him, that turned into the captaincy. Caleb Jewell, 76 off 49, got dropped, I think, 3 times from memory. He just had the luck of the Irish with him. So, yeah, he did really well in the end. Spencer Johnson picked him up. Really happy about owning Spencer Johnson, though. So, I guess you take the good with the bad. Spencer Johnson did absolutely amazing. And, yeah, he's done his job. And yeah, Caleb Jewell, 76 off 49. a game-winning knock, pretty much. Mitch Owen got them off to a fast start, 44 off 20. Pretty sure he might have got dropped, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, he did really well as well. 6 sixes in that knock as well. But he got out to Spencer Johnson as well. Charlie Wakeham, he just never looked on it. The stumping was sort of 50-50, and I could see arguments either way, because there is going to be that sort of shadow that is created, and people need to understand that foot isn't actually, it's only halfway down. That foot isn't a full way planted in the crease, so half of that point of the toe was actually up. It's just whether that point was actually where that point of when it started to actually be in the air, was in the air, and that was the whole question of it. One angle looked out, one angle didn't, so I guess you could say probably should have been not out, but it was one of those 50-50 calls. Chowdhury got out 39 off 27, did his job yet again. I think that's like his third or fourth 39 or something. He's done really consistent, and he got himself 54 points with the bat, which is really, really good. And yeah, so he did his job. Tim David, 11 off 10. Yeah, annoying that he didn't get to the 20, but kind of needed that because a lot of people would have profited a lot off that, and because I think a lot of people had him VC or captain. Matt Wade, 15 off 9. I did like that he hit the last ball for 6 just to get those 6 extra points. I think he ended up on an 81, which for no catches, I don't think in the field was all right as a keeper. 81 in the double isn't the worst, especially because Philippi was just horrendous and has been horrendous. And then Jake Doran, 8 off 4. He just got them home in the last over, which didn't look likely. Nisa, 4 of his done for 49, absolutely sucked. But he did have 3 drop catches off his bowling. That could have easily turned that from a 9, I think, in general, to about a 79, or it would have been an 82, sorry, if you just consider that, let alone the fact that those went for 6, and I don't think he would have had the negative momentum, so I think he would have actually bowled a lot better. So I think he, instead of going for 49, he probably goes for like 30 odd, and takes 3 for it, so he gets the economy rate bonus, a couple more dot balls, etc. So just shows how different things can swing. Xavier Bartlett bowled absolutely tripe in that last over. Yeah, he bowled really horribly throughout the game. Still ended up 1 for 42. Spencer Johnson is their best quick by a country mile. 4 overs, 3 for 26. He was actually nipping the ball around in like the 16th over, and I was just going, what? This is unplayable. Even for a guy like Jewel, I think it was on about 50 at the time or 60 at the time, and he just couldn't play it. Swepson, I don't know why he's almost in their side. He's just horrific. Matt Kuhneman, 3.5 overs, done for 33, and is looked to have a compound fracture of his thumb. And then Marnus, that was probably a game-changing boundary, to be honest with you. If that goes for a single, that Marnus ball, then it probably just mounts the momentum, I think, in terms of, because I know that was in the 17th over. They needed 29, I think, was it? Or was it like 33 off? Let me actually just double check. When was that 4? Bartlett, Spencer Johnson, 4 from Marnus. Yeah, so that would leave them 179 needing 23 from 2 rather than the 21, I think it was. Was it? Yeah, no, they needed 20 off 2 rather than 23 off 2. If that ball had gone for 1, but it was an absolutely horrific ball and Tim David smashed it. So yeah, that was pretty bad bowling from Marnus, and I think that was probably game-changing. If he comes on and gets a dot or a single, then I think they get home, honestly, the Heat, just because of the momentum that they were carrying. But anyway, it is what it is. That is the final game review. Quite a long one, but I did want to talk about how I hope that they structure something for the BBL next year in terms of the English players that are over here for the Ashes, as I think a lot of them will be useful. But anyway, that is the video there. If you did enjoy it on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And for those listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there. And I will see you guys for the round 9 preview of my team, as well as the trade targets. I guess it'll be a pod edition or a heavy pod edition. And then we'll get into the AFL content, as well as reviewing my season in a couple of days when the season is over, as it does end on the 19th is the last game, so a couple of days. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.